3i Atlas continues to dominate the news. NASA's Europa Clipper and ESA's HERA spacecraft are about to fly directly through the tail of material streaming off 3i Atlas. And this is not a planned mission. This is an unexpected opportunity that could give us our first direct samples of matter from another star system. And it's all happening in the next 2 weeks. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologers, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. According to the Daily Mail, between October 25th and November 6th, NASA's Europa Clipper and ESA's HERA spacecraft will pass through the ion tail of 3i Atlas, a stream of charged particles extending millions of miles from the comet. And this rare encounter will allow both spacecraft to be immersed in the tail, providing the first opportunity to direct and sample material from an interstellar comet's ion tail. Researchers use a program called Tailcatcher to predict these encounters, with minimum distances calculated at roughly 5 million miles. Samuel Grant from the Finnish Meteorological Institute emphasized that we have virtually no data on the interior composition of interstellar comets or their star systems of origin, making this tail sampling the closest method available for obtaining direct samples from another part of the galaxy. Europa Clipper carries plasma and magnetic field instruments that, under favorable solar wind conditions, will capture incredible data. Simultaneously, we have multiple space agencies coordinating observations. We have a Harvard scientist questioning whether if it's entirely natural. Is there something genuinely unusual happening that we need to pay attention to? Or is this all leading into some form of disinformation campaign? Some people think so.
I do think it's absolute nonsense. I think that you're going to see, a comet that's, maybe unique by material pass by the Earth and life goes on. I'm pretty high confidence that that's what's going to happen. But again, I don't know. I'm not an astronomer or anything. I just know what intelligence agencies have tried to push on me.
A lot of people have jumped to a conclusion. Aha, Jeremy was talking about this one. How did he know? And, I was wondering that myself since you hadn't shared it with me.
But you've heard it, George.
Yeah, of course.
2027 to 2036. Ooh, a big thing is coming. Okay, what is it then? How'd you find out about it?
I've been around long enough to remember Hale Bopp. Hale Bopp. Art Bell, a lot of people saying, there's something following it, a big spaceship, end of the world coming. And then the crazy cult people in Southern California all drank the Kool-Aid and died. They could meet up with it. Bad stuff can happen when you do that kind of crazy prognostication.
George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell addressed this exact situation on Weaponized. Listen to what Jeremy had to say about the progress of these types of topics.
What we can all agree on is that, the battle of learning more is going to be, won not through apathy and retreat. It's going to be, won by persistence and attrition. And, it has been acknowledged that the UAP phenomenon is real. A lot of people didn't need that. It's puzzling, but it's important. And I believe that it's going to take individuals and groups of people to all kind of go their own way to try to fight for more information. Maybe I'm biased being a journalist with you. I think that we're going to learn the majority from people, actual people that just come forward to us. I think science will play a role in it as well, but I think whistleblowers having the Constitution and the motive to come forward and go as far as they can without putting themselves in jeopardy or hurting national security. I believe that is how we're going to make progress on that.
Jeremy makes a critical point here. Even though the Schumer-Rounds amendment did not pass, there are many paths to that mountaintop. And if one doesn't work, then we have to focus on others that will. That applies directly to 3i Atlas. While we wait for official disclosure, nature itself may be forcing the conversation. George Knapp stated on the show that he never felt that formal disclosure would happen voluntarily. But what has happened over the past 7 years is encouraging. We have had major media doing stories, Congress having hearings, scientific organizations engaging with the topic. The problem is that people expect full disclosure overnight. Okay, now stay with me. There's still more that we need to cover, and understanding these anomalies is critical to seeing why this object has scientists so interested. Let me walk you through what makes 3I Atlas so unusual. First, you have the mass. According to Loeb's calculations from October 11th, this object weighs more than 33 billion tons, at least 1,000 times more massive than previous interstellar objects. But when Loeb calculated its gravitational pull, something didn't match. The gravity is far weaker than what it should be. When 3I Atlas passed Mars on October 3rd, its gravitational effect was so small it could barely even be measured. And this suggests the object is either hollow inside or made of material much less dense than anything that we've ever seen on Earth. Second is the composition. Spectroscopic analysis from the Very Large Telescope showed 3I Atlas contains virtually no dicarbon, the molecule that typically causes comets to glow green. Without it, 3I Atlas should not be glowing green. Yet photographs from early September show a green hue around 3I Atlas. The object has also expelled massive amounts of nickel with almost no iron. Every other comet ever studied shows these materials in roughly equal ratios. This object breaks that pattern completely. Third is the trajectory. 3I Atlas travels within 5 degrees of the elliptic plane, the flat disk where all planets orbit. The chance of an interstellar object randomly aligning that closely is about 1 in 500. Then, imaging from the Nordic Optical Telescope confirms that between July and September, 3I Atlas completely reversed its jet direction. Material that was shooting towards the sun, creating an unusual anti-tail, transformed into a normal tail pointing away from the sun.
We are seeing the anti-tail that was pointed towards the sun, opposite to what we see in the context of comets, and now changing direction and going away from the sun, the more conventional way. We don't know what the reason is.
And of course, there's more to the story, so don't go anywhere. According to Loeb, this creates the perfect setup for what is called an Oberth maneuver. There is a principle in spaceflight where if you want to change your speed or direction in space most efficiently, you do it when you're moving fastest, and you move fastest when you're closest to a massive object like the sun. For 3I Atlas, this optimal window will occur on October 29th, 8 days after it passed behind the sun on October 21st. The object is now completely hidden from Earth-based observations during the single most efficient maneuver window for any interstellar arrival.
There is also a possibility, if you imagine the gases coming out of 3I Atlas having a technological origin, perhaps the object is preparing to do some kind of a maneuver and changes the alpha. At the moment, obviously, it would be most natural to assume that it's a comet of natural origin, but we should keep our eyes and check what it does.
And this is all happening while 3I Atlas is being hit by a coronal mass ejection, according to observations of the sun. But here's the real thing to watch for. The International Asteroid Warning Network, a group associated with the United Nations, has mobilized a coordinated global observation campaign between November 27th and January 27th. This is the same network that monitors objects posing potential Earth impact threats. According to an official circular issued by the Minor Planet Center on October 21st, this campaign aims to obtain precise positional measurements of 3I Atlas. It's also worth mentioning that on August 15th, 1977, the Big Ear Radio Telescope detected a powerful 72-second narrowband at the hydrogen line frequency, and it was quickly labeled the WOW signal due to its very unusual characteristics. According to Loeb's analysis, 3I Atlas came from approximately the same direction in the sky as the WOW signal.
And I checked it. Turns out that it came from about the same direction in the sky as 3I Atlas, within 9 degrees. And the chance for a random alignment of the two directions of 9 degrees or so is 0.6%.
So here is what we need to look out for the coming weeks. The Europa Clipper encounter happens in the next 2 weeks, where the spacecraft will pass through the ion tail and capture data using plasma instruments and magnometers to detect any unusual materials or signatures that do not match natural cometary composition. The European Space Agency's JUICE spacecraft will observe it in November of this year, though data will not be available until February of next year, followed by the object's closest approach to Earth on December 19th of 2025, and NASA's Juno spacecraft observations during a Jupiter flyby on March 16th, 2026. Scientists, space agencies, and the public are all watching this very closely. The data exists, the observations are happening, and by January, according to Loeb, we should have a good idea about the nature of this object. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again next time for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.